Hey, good morning, Patriots. Another great day in the USA. So, trying to get the day going. Man, oh man, summer is hot, and it's not going to get any cooler. And it's going to be hot because of the big, beautiful bill. There's some things we're going to talk about on that today. Can you imagine the Senate disapproving an amendment to remove illegal aliens from Medicaid? I can imagine that, unfortunately. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll talk about some other things which are of interest because, we live in interesting times. Speaking of someone who's interesting, who's never boring, is Chris Cardani. Good morning, Chris.
And good morning, Tony. How are you? And I hope you're enjoying the rest of the lovely morning here.
Yeah. So I'm wearing George's shirt today. Born to Ride 45. Good morning, George, if you're there. It's a good day to be in Florida. George is in Florida, and Florida's building a big old gator resort, but not for gators.
You know what? We used to have dogs watch the place, I suppose, back in the old days. The mansions had these big dogs barking. Why not? Florida is the alligator capital of the country.
Alligator Alley.
That's right. Put them to work. That's what I say. Put these alligators to work, and I believe
that's right.
Alligator.
George. You think we could ask George to go out and interview the alligators? You think they'd have any comments for him?
I would say they would. They said they're going to have a roaring good time with the new job.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Man, oh man. So, but anyway, Chris, I don't mind to distract, but so let's start off the day. There's a lot of things going on. Oh, by the way, we have a secret guest. Can we say who the secret guest is tomorrow or not?
It's confirmed. Today we have Mike McCormick. Tomorrow? Well, that should be on.
Mike.
Yes. He's your guy, so
I will tell him. Well, today is Mike, right? That's Mike's book, right?
Yep. Yeah. He also has an almost insurmountable evil. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. So that's about Joe Biden's toe fungus, right? Insurmountable evil is his toe fungus. I think that's what he calls it.
Well, or it could be the Obama cooking staff.
Well, they get cooked. Just so. But by the way, I heard that Major's book for those who are paying attention. Major, what was his name again?
Major Chris? Fred Galvin.
Fred Galvin.
We'll get him
I like
on
him.
Again. Yes.
Yeah. So I did actually order his book. It'll be here soon. I ordered it along with some cat treats. Not that that's related to anything, but just saying.
Hey, everybody likes cat treats.
Everybody loves it. Who doesn't? Look, AOC keeps them in her office as snacks. Did you know that?
So here's a question for you: are you down with AOC or KJP?
I think this is a David Letterman dilemma. So David Letterman used to do these wacky things. So his question would be, Chris, if you put KJP and AOC on the beach, this is multiple choice. Who could swim further out to sea without drowning? A, AOC, B, KJP, or C, it doesn't matter. Let's try it and find out.
I'll say that, but here is the actual answer. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would go to the ocean, swim halfway there, say, I don't think I can make it, and swim back. KJP would say, that's not an ocean. That's a cheap fake.
But they both would drown, hopefully. Just saying.
There we go. Well, wait.
It could be shark food.
We can't let KJP drown because Karine Jean-Pierre has that book coming out about how independent she is right now.
She's a historic figure. Did you hear? She told everybody she's a historic figure.
And that means she is.
She's historic, and AOC is histrionic. They're related.
She's the biggest cheap fake to come out of that Biden administration since the auto pen. There we
go. So real quick on this whole thing. What's up with Sandy being from a really patriotic little town? What's it called? Something Heights? Yorktown Heights?
Yorktown Heights. Look, we already knew, and this isn't.
It's a beautiful town. I saw the video. It's like, holy, Benny Johnson went there. I'd like to live there. That's a cool place.
I saw the video, but the fact is, this isn't new news. We knew this beforehand. She was pulling the street act when she first ran. We all knew she was from let's just say a well-off area, and she's posh.
Well off.
Yes, just
Yeah.
like Jasmine Crockett. These fake ghetto types, they're posh, and they know they're spoiled, and they know it. The fact is, they're trying to relate to the lowest common denominator, and for
Yeah.
the Democrats at this point, that bar has to be quite low.
Well, if you're drinking at the bar is always low. Just saying, and these people all do. So
Well, that would be the Daniel Moynihan theory. Well, that's an old name from the past. Anybody remember him? Oh, what was it? Bob Grant used to call him 180 proof Moynihan.
I like Moynihan. Moynihan, because he was drunk, probably made the most sense of any of the Democrats. Just saying.
It is true.
Just saying.
Hey, it's funny. You watch the way the Democrats are today, and you bring up a good point with Moynihan. It used to be guys like Moynihan and Bob Kerrey would drag people like AOC or Jasmine Crockett or David Hogg or the likes like that, or that Goldman fellow into a smoke-filled room and say, you know what, you guys are making us all look like communists. You're making us all look like radicals.
Well, they are, for
you're
God's
killing
sake.
the party. You're killing the party. Shut up, look pretty, and let us do the work.
So, yeah, I put out on X this morning. Let me see if I can find it, because I have so many things open right now.
That's okay.
Hold on a second.
But
about the fact that the Democrats used to be the party of slavery and Jefferson Davis. Now they're the party of Stalin and collectivization. I mean, these people are nuts. There's no other way to describe what it is. And I know our patriots don't need to be reminded of this, because I think they see it. It's notable that every city that is governed by Democrats using these woke principles are all riddled with crime, going broke. You see that Denver is going to start cutting staff, because they're putting all the money into feeding, clothing, and supporting illegal aliens. Like, yeah, I mean, local level, you don't have unlimited budgets. It's insane. So,
well, here's the problem with Democrats who run cities at this point. They are activists. That's what they are.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They know how to rile up a crowd, organize a crowd, and chant. That's what they do when they want to get into office to push their social agendas. So when somebody like Karen Bass or Johnson or potentially a Zoran Mamdani comes into office, hey, they can spout all they want. They can push their agenda. The problem is, while they're chasing a national social agenda, they don't realize they have to handle day-to-day operations. They don't know how to deal with unions who are striking because the city's not paying them enough to.
I don't know, Chris. I don't know.
Right, but they don't know. They don't know how to handle how to. They
seem to get the votes.
Right,
but they get the votes.
But it doesn't matter, because abject children are running. We're raising generations of children almost with adult children who have the mentalities of adult children, who sit there and say, "Wow, Zoran says he's going to freeze prices of food by having the city own all the stores. Hey, that's a brilliant idea." And you know what? Oh, by the way, he's going to say, "Oh, they're going to keep rents frozen while taxing our landlords." Yeah, that's going to work out, but all they know is what affects them. These people say they're not selfish, but they're very, very selfish voters. They only vote for their own interests. They always pat themselves on the back and they were voting for the minority.
So let's think this through for a second.
Right.
Think this through. So we're talking here about the food system, the system that provides nutrition to citizens of New York, will soon be cornered. The market will be cornered, because our friend John Catsimatidis is going to leave. He's going to take his markets with him. You're telling the Patriots, Chris, that within a very short time, New York City is going to own all the means of commerce regarding food, and they're going to run it with the same efficiency as the Department of Sanitation, right?
Well, Department of Sanitation's run better. I'm saying that he doesn't know how to run. They're going to go in not knowing how to run a city. It's going to fall apart. The infrastructure is going to go down. Piping is going to go down. Handling the homeless situation is going to get worse. Look, Karen Bass didn't know how to handle or prepare her city for a
All right,
the
so
wildfires that go to the area for a long time.
let's have this debate.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Chris.
It's not even a
Let's
debate.
have
We
this.
agree on this.
Let's have this debate right now with the
Okay.
Patriots. Do you all think that this is because they're incompetent and stupid? I mean, let's face it. Gavin Newsom is about as bright as I don't know, as the asphalt in Santa Monica on a hot day. That's how bright he is. And Karen Bass, she's got all of the wit and humor of I mentioned earlier, toe fungus. She's that vivacious. Are these people stupid, or are they deliberately evil? Is this planned evil? Is this something that they know they're doing? Because to me, even with stupidity, you get one thing right now and then. They get nothing right. So what do the Patriots think? Do you think it's stupidity? Do you think it's people because they're just incompetent and stupid, like Sandy, like AOC? Oh, what's a garbage disposal?
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. Or Ratchet Jasmine Croquet out with the big eyelashes that actually cool down senior citizen centers in Texas during the summer. She just bats those things and it lowers the room temperature by 10 degrees. Did you know that? So is it evil? Is it evil, or is it are they just stupid? And most people are coming back now evil, and I think it's evil. I think people know exactly what they're doing.
They have to be, and the fact is, it also reflects, and this is important. It reflects the low mentality of the voting public at this point. All these generations, and we're producing, the education system's producing more people who do not think critically and who look at the surface. Politicians only now worry about optics and what's on X or Twitter, especially on the left side. And we can go into how skewed that was. But let's put it this way. The National Social Agenda sounds nice, but people do not treat their votes as they should. They are looking for somebody to either give them confirmation bias or somebody to inspire them. They don't realize they have to hire somebody to do a job, and that's the issue. I mean, I like Curtis Stewa. I like Curtis Stewa. I think he can run a city.
Yeah, I met him. I like him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
I think he can run a city, but people like him because he's the people like him because he's the guy that protects the city. The thing is,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing is, Eric Adams can technically run a city. De Blasio could not run a city. He didn't care to run a city. He was a public advocate who snuck into the mayor's vote, the Democrat nomination for mayor after Anthony Weiner. Well, you know what he did.
Well, Wilhelm.
Right.
Wilhelm.
Wilhelm. That's right. Wilhelm.
Yeah, he was never really he's like a Bernie Sanders with a better.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the public advocate.
Yeah. He's not really a manager kind of guy. These people end up in charge of bureaucracies, and I think, what was it? He was giving away free fries for vaccines.
Shots. Yeah.
Wilhelm was. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Wilhelm also set up needle stations for addicts. I mean, they're basically turning their cities into S-holes, if you will, the third world nations, just to chase a national social agenda. So him and his buddies at a cocktail party that the voters who vote for him will never ever be allowed to sniff or come close to. They can pat each other on the back about how wonderful they are and how open and how equitable they are.
Well, so a question. Red Ginger asks, how was Adams doing before he was forced to wake up by Trump? He was doing terribly. The city was continuing its downward spiral. I would argue it's only been paused because Adams got the memo. It's like, hey, dude, we're going to put you in jail because of your Democrat friends. Your Democrat friends started down this path. We'll stop the prosecution if you play ball. So the Democrats really red-pilled or black-pilled. What is it? Black-pilled? Red-pilled?
Red pill's reality, yes.
They red-pilled, the Democrats red-pilled Adams because they didn't like his saying the truth about Biden. And we could go through the whole Biden thing. I guess we will with Mike today, go through some of the current things we're finding out. But
I live slightly upstate of New York. I watch this guy every day. Eric Adams was less of a shill than de Blasio, but he came in as a shill. He towed the line. He towed the Democrats' line of the sanctuary city. He said it's a great thing to be a sanctuary city. But the Biden,
he said that.
Right. But this is before the Biden Civ border came into effect. As soon as that came in, everybody, they were flooding the cities. We know why.
Literally.
For the
Yeah,
2020
literally.
census. But it was Eric Adams who turned around and finally said, because the minorities, the minorities that lived there for a long time were losing their services to these illegals. The money was moving one way or another. He says, we don't have the money for this. That's it. So we have to put this to a stop. We don't have the money. All of a sudden,
Right.
the Democrats turned on the machine, the collective, the Borg, if you will, turned on him.
Yeah.
Took away his police commissioner, took away a couple of his associates, took away his fire commissioner, and then and try to make him stand alone. And you know what he did? He stood alone. I do believe he had the capacity to run a city beforehand, and I believe he did try to put that before a social agenda. Then he realized this national social agenda doesn't help the city. He woke up. He woke up when reality bit him in the ass.
So
but he's still a Democrat. So let's just keep it that way.
I know some people who know him, and I'll be polite because one of my friends on the NYPD actually works for Mayor Adams.
Fair.
And Adams was always a nice guy when he was in the police department. He always was. But he wasn't, I think he was taken in. I think he was susceptible to concepts of the left. I'll just leave it at that and be polite. And I think he listened. And I think, for better or for worse, Adams was smart enough to understand the path to power. I'll say that. He did. Because, my old boss, your old boss, our old boss, Herb London, used to always talk about the importance of understanding essentially the tribes of New York. There's a lot of tribes. There's the unions, as you mentioned. There's, just say it, the Jewish folks are a tribe. They're a split tribe because there's mostly Democrat Jews, which I don't understand since the Democrat Party is anti-Semitic. We could have a whole show on that. Chris, we should bring back, what's her name for that show? We should do that show.
Oh, well, that narrows it down. I think we should bring Susan Olsen and Rob Spencer on for that. We'll do that.
Yeah,
again.
and then our friend, what's her name? I'm on Newsmax with her all the time. She was on with us the other day. The Israeli from Israel.
Ruthie.
Ruthie
Yeah.
Bloom.
We'll bring her.
Ruthie
We have
Bloom.
a lot of people to bring on again.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my point being is that we can't forget, because the left will probably never let us forget, that they have been able to put this tapestry together of groups, of tribes that become their constituency that puts them in office. And that's what's going on right now. That's what the battle is all about. Will Adams, because I know Curtis wants to win, and I'm sure he's going to make a run at it, but I don't think a Republican is going to win this one, unfortunately. I think it's going to be down to Adams and Zoran. So,
here's how New York can play out. There are a few different ways. Andrew Cuomo is going to be a factor if he stays in the race. He is going to split the Zoran vote. He's going to split the Adams vote. But it would look like you can see a mayor slip in there with a 39, 38%, maybe 36% plurality if there are four major candidates.
Yeah.
And the 33 to 36% could go to Curtis Sliwa. Now, my guess is that some voters will think Curtis Sliwa is not going to win, so I'm going to try to save the city and go Adams. Yeah. Adams could therefore that could give Adams 36 to 40% of the vote for the victory. Whereas Zoran's going to get the young people. I believe Zoran's going to get at least 30% of the vote, maybe 25. Wait a minute. Zoran Mamdani is the guy who you go into the voting booth drunk, and you say, hey, wouldn't it be funny if you voted for this guy? And you wake up the next morning and look, oh crap, he won after you're hungover. But the fact is, I believe a lot of people stayed home during the Democrat primary. I believe a lot of people thought Andrew Cuomo was a shoo-in against this moron, and they just stayed home. But
that's how AOC got in too. Same thing. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's like, well, just
now if it was Mamdani versus Sliwa, just because he has a D at the end of his name would give him the win. But the Adams factor and the Cuomo factor could hand the victory to either Adams or Sliwa.
Yeah, and George Born to Ride 45 says Zoran is illegal. He is. I don't think he followed. So to me at this point, I have no problem playing hardball. It's like, yeah, just deport the guy, just be done with it. I have no problem with that at all. I think most Americans at this point wouldn't care either. Just saying. I think it's time that we The other side wouldn't have any hesitation, right? If people found out that I don't know that who's a good Republican. I don't know if they found out that Marjorie Taylor Greene was illegal, they deport her, no doubt.
No,
No doubt
they
they
would
go
deport
after.
her in a second. If they made something up that she was illegal, they'd deport her
Yeah.
for some reason. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree. And some Republicans who were called out by her would probably go along with it. To
Yeah.
be honest with you.
No doubt. Yeah. So I have no problem going to their level. I don't. I just don't care anymore. Now, let me caveat everything I'm saying because I'm trashing Democrats. I get along. There are degrees of Democrats. We should do a book on that, right? The degrees of Democrats. It's like the 50 Shades of Democrats.
Oh, I'm sure that means a few different things, but yes.
Oh yeah, it does. So I get along very well. I'm an elected official here in Chowan County. I actually enjoy my Democrat colleagues, with rare exception. Everybody at this level recognizes our job is to help support the people who elected us. I know it's a novel concept. Gee, you want to respond to those. And I'm in a predominantly Republican area. I was elected, what was it, 60 some percent to 30 some percent. So yeah, it's like 3-1. Just saying, I mean, it is what it is. But I get along with my Democrat colleagues here because the Democrats here actually believe in the values that the Democrat Party espouses. That's key. They actually they walk the walk. Now, you get to the state, you start losing some of that durability of ethics. That durability starts going away, probably because there's more money at the state level, right, Chris? I mean, people start getting corrupted when you get to the state. And that's where you get the real shenanigans going on. What do you think?
I'm with you on this because when if a lot of people go into politics, like you're saying, to maybe help out your local community,
And a lot of people I know here did.
Right,
People here did.
And you see the
Because you don't get paid much, not at this level anyway. Just saying.
Right. I get that. Some people just go in to get health care, and that's another thing. But I'll get into that at another time. I could bore you with local stories about that. Having said that, there are some higher ups in the state that will find and handpick some people and groom them and say, "Hey, yeah, you could be one of us." Yeah,
well, Democrats do groom. They do that. Yes,
Republicans do too, especially at the state level.
Yeah,
they find people. They say, "Look, you could be one of us." They treat them to nice dinners. They learn how to be spoiled, and they say, "Wow, I can have all this." Then they realize after a while, they seek them in with a little bit of altruism, and then they realize they have to play ball. They just said, "Well, I have a family to take care of. I can move up. I can get famous. I can."
I've had this lecture from civil servant employees. Well, I know, Tony, I'd like to help you, but I got a kid going to college. I can't speak out and tell the truth. No, I get that.
But a lot of these guys,
I've heard it a lot.
But a lot of these guys get the perks. Then they realize, wow, I can play ball and get famous. I can get perks. This is amazing. This is a career path. And that's how you breed career politicians. And career politicians, again, like
Tom Tillis.
Right.
Well, Tom Tillis, time for Tom to go.
Yeah.
I could have a whole show on Tom.
Right.
Yeah.
I prefer Mel. Anyway,
I like Mel Gibson, but he's over in a sabbatical over in Greece right now. So just saying.
I also like Pam Tillis. Cool. She's actually pretty good too,
we're friends on Facebook, Pam and I. Maybe I should ask her to come on. I think she's kind of conservative.
Oh, I would like that.
Did you know that? We're actually friends.
Whose page posts conservative ideas? Sharo.
Ooh, she's kind of cool. I like her.
I like Charo. Charo's awesome. Hey, it's never a Love Boat season without the cool Charo on. That's one thing I learned. There's a couple things I learned in life. As I said, one of them is a Love Boat full season is lost unless Charo appears on it. And secondly, and this is important, Tony, this is an important rule in life. And I saw this. Anytime you see an old guy wearing a Napoleon hat and costume, something cool is about to happen. And I learned this a few times because these guys are hilarious. And as a matter of fact, once it came to fruition, I was watching the first season of America's Got Talent. And on the stage appears an old guy with a Napoleon hat. So I'm thinking, now I know something cool is about to happen. And you know what he did? He played the nose flute. He took out this recorder thing and put it in his nose and played it through his nose. And I'm thinking, my rule of life actually worked here. I have a lot of rules, but that's one of them. So remember that. If you ever walk by any city, any town, there's an old guy with a Napoleon hat, stay there. plant yourself because you know something cool is about to happen. And by the way, I got something cool for you too, Tony. Our guest, Mike McCormick.
Hey, good morning, Mike.
Hey,
so,
good
Mike,
morning, guys.
are you here to? Are you here to play the nose flute too?
No.
I can actually play Jingle Bells.
My nose. I had to itch my nose off.
Chris got my hopes all up. It's like, really? I didn't know Mike could do that.
All right. I can do something for you.
Napoleon hat on either.
All right. I can do something for you. I learned from my friend Richard. Okay. He and I may be the only two people who can do this, by the way. We can play Jingle Bells on our nose.
How you guys doing? True. Hey, Tony, good to see you again. Hey, Chris.
Good to see you, Mike. Yeah, we got your book here. It's In Case You Impeach, and then you got the new one.
An almost insurmountable evil.
About AOC's toe fungus.
That's got to be disgusting.
It's Sandy. Infectious. It's Sandy. Infectious. Sandy. So we've been talking about their evil because we started off a little bit kind of going through talking about Gators. And George, I see you're on there. George, go out and interview some Gators for us. See what they're thinking. See if they're going to get. I wonder if the Gators are going to get bonuses for each leg they bite off. You think they're going to do that? That'd be kind of cool. If you can send people back to their countries in pieces. But I digress. But
that's gotta hurt.
Well, it would hurt. Just say it. That's the whole point. So, but we're talking about are they stupid? Or are they evil? You've seen this up front, Mike. It's evil, right? It's all evil.
We're talking about Democrats, or we're talking about rhinos too, right? I mean,
well, I could throw in Tom Tillis in there, but I think Democrats for the most part. We've been talking about Sandy, about Jasmine Croquet, right. About Governor Hair Helmet, Miss Bass. The right. Bass that keeps on
right.
They have you could buy, she got famous off those bass. They would have the big mouth and they would flip on the wall. So that's how she got her name, Karen Bass.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, they are evil. They are evil, Tony. There's no question. There's a lot of evil out there, and it's seeped into our government system over probably the last, a long time. 50, 60, 70 years at least. It's been seeping in.
So, let's talk about how it's currently manifesting, because we're just talking about how at this level, I work at the local level. I'm a county commissioner. I get into my tips. Most of you all follow them because, they're pretty public and fun. And by the way, I think I mentioned Monday, the Judge Advocate General Colonel, and I use Colonel in quotations, Five House, he didn't want to come on the show. I don't know why. He admits to doing things in a letter to me, and then we invite him on to talk about it. He doesn't want to come on. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
The pot shots, but it's hard to go face to face.
Yeah, it's like, hey, come on.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, a very brief background.
Yes, this is good.
As a county commissioner, we do county commissioner stuff. It's kind of cool. That's what we're elected to do. So one of the things we did is that we chose to not continue someone on the library trust. We just basically said, hey, thanks for your service. We're not renewing your 4 years. It's unanimous vote. The two Democrats voted with the Republicans on a 7-0 vote, unanimous. And my correct excuse for not supporting her, and I was vocal about it. Mike, she didn't have in the 3 years I was on the library trust with her, we didn't have a single veterans event, not one. Even though I recommended we have my friend Bill Forston come and do it. Bill Forston, 1 second after, some other books. Right. Ralph Peters, Ralph Peters. Ralph and I are friends. And then, of course, my friend Jack Carr.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, why don't we invite an author? I'm a New York Times bestselling author. Operation Dark Heart.
Right.
So let me use. And by the way, these authors are all in my imprint. It's even easier because I could go to the publisher, and the publisher would approve it too. Just saying, just a little bit behind baseball there.
Right.
And it's like, so crickets. Not a thing was said. Nothing. But we had Harry Potter events, and I don't even know J.K.
Right.
Rowling.
Right.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
But by the way, for the record, now that I'm on my rant, we have thousands. We're the smallest county in North Carolina. Our whole county couldn't fit in the back of Chris's trunk. That's how small we are, right, Chris?
Oh no, not at all. No, that's right. I didn't know
we only have 14,000 people, and it's been this way since like 1790. I mean, it's like it's a small place. This was, by the way, the first capital of North Carolina, Edenton.
You might want to hit that diner again. That was fun.
I'm trying to get through the story. Anyway, so Mike, my point being, and the Patriots follow this, is that we all decide maybe veterans. I think there's about 2,800 veterans out of the 14,000. I think having veterans events should be something that the library does instead of Harry Potter events. Just saying, wouldn't that be logical? I don't know. Yeah. So when she refused to do it, it became a scandal. Oh, well, we don't believe you. Well, you could go check. Anyway, all the extreme left didn't like the fact that we said no, and it's like no, we again, Democrats, Republicans both voted to not renew her charter, to her extension on library trust. And so the left has been in a tizzy down here since then. I've been personally attacked. Some knucklehead, who I will not name by his name, went off on me for 30 minutes at the NAACP meeting last Monday.
Wow.
Sounds like
I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah. I should have showed up to listen to how evil I am.
Next time, record that. That's going to be on tape.
I know. I should have.
Cell phone.
And then this other guy named Five House. Not to be confused with Four House. He's five. Five is more than four, right, Chris? I think that's true.
Let's go six.
Anyway,
let's go up
Six House. Well, he's not. He didn't get six. He only got five. Five House. He's a retired colonel, and he decides to do a letter to the editor attacking me for 9/11 stuff. Goes through all this stuff, and it's like, and it's all opinion. It's like, well, I think this, I think that, and he kind of mentions the 9/11 stuff. It's like, okay. And then he drums up the fake. You know how it is being a whistleblower, Mike. He drums up the fake allegations of 23 years ago. So note to self, if you're going back into someone's past 23 years to resurrect something that was disproven, you're probably losing. You're probably not going to win this.
Right.
So sure enough, I reach out to the local paper, the Albemarle Reporter. And they say, yeah, we hope you'll respond. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to respond. And I did. And of course, unlike this guy, I brought receipts. Yeah. I had documents, I had links, I had reports, I had pleadings, all of it.
Right.
And so he gets upset with me because I listed out, and I call him a liar, and he says, oh, you need to retract that because I didn't lie. It's like I proved you lied. And, and then I mentioned Mike. In my response, you'll like this piece because this goes directly to what you talk about all the time. I mentioned that he was on active duty during the time of the Able Danger cover-up. And I just asked, and I asked the questions like, gee, I wonder if there's any relation. So 3 days go by, I get a cease and desist note where he says, I demand you retract my being part of the Able Danger cover-up. It's like, I didn't say you were part of it. So he in his own retraction says he was part of the 9/11, the Able Danger cover-up.
Huh.
Yeah.
The library thing is a big thing behind the scenes. That is an iceberg.
So we're finding this out.
To come up.
We're finding this out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently I had no idea.
As a conservative author, my books get suppressed everywhere.
Yes,
absolutely.
On all different atmospheres, but there's no way any library will ever look at anything I've said, and they should, and they don't. And it's it's shocking to me how control over the library is. Like I did a lot of my writing in the library, and So when I first started, I wrote one of my books was called 15 Years of Deplorable, White House Memoir. I wrote that in our local library, which is right at the edge of D.C., right there by Chevy Chase, Bethesda, very liberal area.
The People's Republic of Maryland. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. And I would walk in and look at like the librarian, recommended bookshelf every day, and it was so Obama-fied. It was so liberal. And this was during Trump's era. And so I'm writing in this. I eventually had a library talk there. The librarian who was there, and I met her.
See, this is why they didn't want me doing this. Exactly. Keep going. No, they didn't want me or one of my guys
times, talking. She was actually conservative. She goes, look, she had a whisper to me. She goes, I like Trump. My husband has a gun. I want you to come in and do a library talk. Because she'd seen me, and I sort of talked to her about the book. They actually put it on their shelf. She said, we're getting a lot of interest in your book. Can you bring me another one? I was like, sure. So they now have 2 of that 15 Years of Deplorable on a shelf for local authors. It's like a voluntary, I donate it, they put it on the shelf. So I had a library talk there. One person showed up, and I guarantee he was an FBI guy who was interviewing me to see if I was passing.
Oh, yeah, they show up to these things. Although they're not, they're supposed to, there's something called non-disclosed participation. They technically can't do that. They have to announce that they're there if they're on the clock. And it's illegal because otherwise, if they don't announce themselves, it's a violation of your civil rights. Just saying. So
interesting. I didn't know that because I there's me and this one guy in this room, and I kind of walk in, and one of the librarians kind of gave me a side eye, and I was surprised at how few people turned out. And it was only advertised inside the library, so it's just local community people would have seen it coming and going in and out of the library.
Yeah.
And this one guy shows up, and he goes, "Yeah, I work at that Environmental Protection Agency," and I knew some people in the EPA, and I named some names. He drew a blank, and he's a local guy. He would have known the local EPA guys. So I started to get kind of a funny feeling about him, and then he started asking me, "So, have you ever seen classified information in your job? Do you have classified clearance?" And I was like,
yeah. See,
once I got those questions, I was like, okay, this guy's here for one thing. He did not buy a book. So
yeah. He's on the clock. He's on the clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
can't libraries are definitely, they are a point of attack for the left. They do
not. Yeah, it's
like
interesting. Yeah. So So just in full disclosure, it's like, I didn't think anything of this. It's like, yeah, I'm a veteran. I think we ought to be doing things to address veterans. I just figured once she came up for a vote, it's like, yeah, we shouldn't renew her. And I said so. It's like, yeah, she really didn't address the needs of the community. That's what I looked at. It's like, yeah, she didn't do that job. And next thing you know, we're in this. By the way, it's unpaid. It's a volunteer position. And then I'm just like, yeah, I've been on this. I've been a member of the trust for 3 years, and nothing's been done for veterans. And that somehow became controversial. Ooh, well, how many times did you say it? Did you really make a deal? It's like, dude, the more you attack me for not bringing receipts, the more you demonstrate over the 3 years that she's been chair, no veterans events happen. None. Zero.
Right.
So, and just to your point, they want to do this whole, and by the way, I like J.K. Rowling, but the Harry Potter thing that the people are fascinated by, they were all focused on this. They had people in costumes, but not a single veterans event. Just saying. So if you could do Harry Potter and get the kids in, you could allow me to invite one of my author friends, legitimate author, published authors, nationally known authors, to invite them to some event to note something. You could let me do that. Even if they say no, you could say, hey, Colonel Schaefer, go invite him. But no, nothing was done. And for the record, I'm being attacked by the extreme left because they don't like the fact that I stood up and said veterans deserve better than being ignored. Right? I think that's the case.
Yeah, there's a well-known bookstore here in Washington called Politics and Prose. So
I know. My book was going to be there once for a book event, and they found that I was a conservative and it got canceled.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I went in there and I said, "Hey, I've got this book." They said, "Well, would you consider putting on your shelves?" They said, "Well, we'll look at it." So they looked at it and said, "You worked for 3 presidents. Yes, we'll put this book. You have historical accurate information. We'll put it on our shelves. It'll cost you $70 for shelving fee. I paid them the $70, and they hit it. They like, I had a friend go in looking for it. She's like, "Where's your book?" I said, "Oh, it's right in there next to John McCain's book." She's like, "I looked and looked. I didn't see it." I was like, "Okay, great." So that's Politics and Prose. They had out the shelving thing for a year. They go, "Hey, do you want to renew your shelving fee and have us have the book on the shelf?" I was like, "No way." And that's me in Politics and Prose, and I guarantee you've had bad issues there too, right?
Well, just a quick note on that. So I was I'm going to say this and you're going to hate me for it. I was the darling of the left for a little bit in a way. I know it's great, right?
Right.
A little bit because when I became a whistleblower, and it's all, documented, Operation Dark Heart, it was against George Bush 43.
Right.
Because Bush refused to act on the wrongdoing we found in the Clinton administration. Just saying. I mean, if you go back and look at the interviews, Kurt, I forgot to mention our special guest tomorrow is my friend Kurt Weldon. Just saying, we're going to be talking about all this. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show. Chris, you should have kicked my ass for that.
No, I was waiting for you to give the reveal.
I know. I finally got to it. Man, I'm meandering this morning.
I have a reveal of my own, too, by the way, so we're in good shape.
Really?
Yes.
Are you becoming AOC's chief of staff? Are you leaving?
No, even better. I just got word. I just got news. So I found out who Ron DeSantis appointed as the general of the Alligator Brigade.
Ooh, who?
Yes, a longtime veteran, one Wallace Gator.
Oh, there he is. Yeah,
he's the man. He's going to be in charge because he's bilingual. He can speak English.
See you later,
and
Wally Gator.
Yeah. All right. So, George, I know you're here in the chat. George, you need to go interview Wally Gator for us, right? Get on your bike and go talk to him, right, Chris?
Yes. Hit on it. Come on over. Yeah, come on over and talk to him. That would be perfect.
Anyway, well, back to Politics and Prose. So anyway, Mike, at one point, because I was going against Bush 43, I don't think our side knew how evil Bush was back in 2005, 2006. Right.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's like I learned the hard way, like you did,
right? That
these people are corrupt. They're just, if you're in power and you're part of the mono party, so Politics and Prose was all happy about having me come and do the talk on Dark Heart because I was like this guy going against the man, the Bush,
right.
The big Bush.
Right.
And so it never happened because I think someone said, well, he really is like a Reagan guy. It's like, oh, we don't want Reagan people.
Right. Right.
So that ended that. So, and Ice Ice Baby is a conservative. We're friends, by the way, on X.
Hey, have you ever, just sort of staying on the topic, have you ever done an author talk at a bookstore that celebrated any author, whether a conservative or not, and didn't care?
Yeah. My first talk, I got a thing, a strange circumstance. So my first official, right after the book was released, my first talk at a bookstore, nonpartisan, was at a place in Elizabeth City. I'm looking at the paper. They actually, Operation Dark Heart aims to shed light on Afghan war. And it was over near where I live in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And so it was nonpartisan. A lot of people showed up. Well, a lot of people from Blackwater, just saying, because Blackwater is like right. 20 miles away, just saying. But it was interesting, and it was nonpartisan. And I've actually had some good talks. And by the way, another group, Mike, that I kind of am close to, but not a member of, is the 9/11 Truth Community. And man, oh man, talk about a group that's been heavily infiltrated by the deep state, just saying. Yeah, there are people over there who legitimately have concerns and beliefs that 9/11 was not what it appeared to be. And you've got the Cass Sustern types who were sent in to basically make outrageous claims like gray aliens put thermite into the towers and then blew them up from a UFO. So, they have those people over there too, just saying. And so, were gray aliens involved? Well, I don't know. Al Sharpton wasn't around that day, so I don't know. So,
well, I was looking into the Joe Biden's interview with special counsel Hur. I read.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it.
Let's do
the
this
transcript of that.
Yeah.
And so this was probably 2 months ago. And it was very interesting. First of all, he did 5 hours of speaking over 2 days in October of 2023. He did a pretty good job of it.
So let's stop that for a second. So they had a sitting president, Joe Biden, sit down to dispel the belief that he somehow was like Trump. That's what they were trying to do. This is supposed to benefit them politically, correct? Was that what they were going for? Okay, keep going. Right. I just want to make sure people understand kind of the
and they wanted him to So they were celebrating it. You know, he's talking to the special counsel. He's cooperating it. And his attorney, Bob Bauer, answered a lot of the questions. He finished a lot of sentences. But, just reading the transcript from having my experiences with somebody who did transcripts for Joe Biden, I could tell that he was actually pretty lucid. Both interviews, though, took place in the middle of the day. So probably when he was at his best, if they'd done it later or earlier in the day, it would have been a different response. So he goes through this thing. And at one point, they started talking about a letter he wrote to Obama that they found would contain a lot of classified information.
This is about Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, it was on Afghanistan. Yeah. It was in November of 2009. He wrote this to Obama. And in it, he talks about, we're going to kill Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. He said that in the letter. They already knew Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan. It wasn't Iran. Yeah. It wasn't anywhere else.
They knew for a while. They knew for a while, Mike. Yeah, they did. Yeah. They knew for a while.
They knew, and they had him there. And, that was, to me, that's one, and that's classified information that's now part of the report. So it's right out there in the public view. And I don't know.
So, no one wants to talk about it. There's been a lot of kabuki regarding the whole 9/11 issue, and I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you read it, but Operation Dark Heart, Zawahiri was the target of Dark Heart. That's what was controversial about the book. We knew where Zawahiri was at in 2003, 2004. Just saying, we knew exactly where it was at. A place called Wana, Pakistan, and that's what people got upset about, is because Dark Heart was actually supposed to be a kill-capture operation of Zawahiri that followed the format of Neptune's Spear, right? So Dark Heart actually telegraphed what we were going to do to bin Laden once we decided to do it. Anywho, that's what people got really upset about, besides the 9/11 stuff in the book, is the admission that we could have taken out Zawahiri right after we got into the war and just grabbed him and been done with it. But of course, no. We wanted to keep the war going. And I think that's part of what you're kind of getting at here, is that, we knew way more. We weren't in any rush to get things done.
Right.
We knew where these knuckleheads were at. We just wanted to basically allow the military-industrial complex to make money. That's the way I view it. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Very disturbing. And, on that trip, so I took this trip with Cheney in 2005. Did I tell you guys about this?
No, tell me about it. Tell us about it.
Okay. So in 2005, White House trip, Cheney goes to Iraq, Afghanistan, and then he goes to Pakistan. And the final stop was Pakistan. He does a quick meeting with President Musharraf in Islamabad, gets back in helo, and we helo up into like the mountains where they're doing earthquake relief in Pakistan, funded by USAID. Huge complex they built up there, like a mobile Army surgical hospital MASH unit. He does this interview there with CNN, Dana Bash. At the time, Dana Bash was married to a guy named Jeremy Bash, who was very high.
We know who he is.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
you know
my friend Catherine Herridge tracks the Bashes. Just saying.
So she was married to Jeremy Bash. She asked Cheney, in this interview, and this transcript I've come across it. I did the transcript of it. She goes, there's information that Osama bin Laden may be in different parts of Afghanistan. Can you tell us where he is? And Cheney goes, I can't answer that question, Dana. It's neither confirm nor deny. I don't know where he is. I can't answer the question. He didn't say I didn't know where he is. He didn't say I know where he is. because the reason he didn't say that was we had just flown in a helo to land at this place over Abbottabad. He flew a helo route right over the top of Abbottabad, did this interview with Dana Bash on CNN, and then went back and flew out of Afghanistan.
Interesting.
You know, I actually have a map. I can jump off screen for a second and show you a map of the route. You want to see it?
Yes, yeah, please.
Yeah, hold on.
That sounds good. In the meantime, I actually found Wally Gator's second in command for the Alligator Brigade. Do you want to check that out? I got them for you.
All right, here's some paperwork. So I saved
I'll get
paperwork from this trip. So here's USAID. This is a map of the USAID.
Yeah. Let me pull this up one.
This is the map of the USAID earthquake relief they were doing in Pakistan, 2005. And let's find here's the map of the route we took. We start here. Let's see. Start at Chakala Airport, and we go up here. Right there is Abbottabad. That's Abbottabad right there.
Yeah, yeah.
We flew right over the top of it. And it's not like it's a big town.
It's small.
It's small. So we
flew
flew
the military
right
academy.
over the top of it. And what I found afterwards was I was like looking at this on the internet, and I found a CIA legacy website. They had surveillance photos of the Abbottabad compound before it was being built. In 2004, they basically had a plot of land under surveillance. And then in 2005, they had sort of the construction process. So this is December of 2005, late, and he flies right over the top of it.
So a lot of shenanigans. I think, by the way, did you notice that that both, I think Biden and Obama came out with their videos yesterday, basically whining about the end of USAID, which had nothing to do with aid, by the way. Did you see that? That's like, okay,
I didn't see the videos, but that makes total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think we've come to find that USAID was, I wouldn't even say it's an extension of CIA. I think CIA was an extension of USAID. USAID was the tool that the political class was using to play masters of the universe. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. USAID. So in that book, An Almost Insurmountable Evil, USAID funded Fauci $200 million starting in November of 2014. It was a 5-year funding cycle. Trump comes in and so $200 million goes to Fauci. That's what they use to do the Wuhan Institute of Virology, all that gain of function stuff over there. It was for global viral surveillance. That was the mark. Trump comes in 2016 and says, I'm not doing any more of this funding for this global viral surveillance. I'm cutting it. So in 2019, in September, the funding stops. That's exactly when they released the Wuhan virus. Exactly. They lost their funding. They released the virus. And what happened? They got trillions back in funding for the emergency pandemic.
Yeah. So I'm doing a note to myself. I have to do a talk on some of this later this year. And it's just interesting that, how do I say this and not sound like we have sour grapes, because we don't. It's always interesting to find out after the fact, Mike, that the left was so evil, they would essentially absorb organizations and entities which are supposed to be doing good, right? I mean, U.S. aid theoretically was supposed to be doing good. And they did, the Doge did the check. It's like, 8% of funds were actually going to those people who were starving or needed vaccinations. Everything else was going to this global, I would just call it the Build Back Better class. They were Build Back Better before Build Back Better existed, right?
Fund, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, and I look back on it, it's really interesting. We were trying to do essentially we were trying to work with DOD. This is back in 2012, 2013. We were trying to do essentially an effort with the Pakistani military and the U.S. military to find a way to do micro banking through a Pentagon office that was doing essentially work regarding investment. And and it was a legitimate office. I worked with them. And it's like we were trying to find a way to basically use commerce as a lead to bring stability. And I had no idea that we were working against our own interests because U.S. aid was there ahead of us doing everything they could to keep the chaos. I mean, I look back on it now, it's like, it's like, wow, no wonder we failed.
This is what they do, though. This is what they do. USAID, like you said, about 7%, 8%, 9% was to actual decent causes. So when somebody speaks up, some politician or somebody comes in and says, hey, USAID is a money laundering scheme. We're giving money to this, this, and this. We shouldn't be teaching Serbians DEI or anything like that. Why? And then this way the opposition can gang up on that one or two people and say, oh, no, USAID gives vaccines to people who need them. USAID helps the poor. Right. Look. And that's what the media covers. That's the idea. So you ignore the 91% and look at the 9.
Yeah. And USAID, Biden used USAID to line his pocket and Burisma and Hunter's pocket in 2014.
Yeah.
Right. Well, one of the Obama daughters was getting like $2.3 million a year out of it. It's like, what?
Yeah. For what? I know. It's like,
right. And who was helping that USAID process in Ukraine in 2014? Alexander Vindman. He was in on that.
There you go. Well, we are while we're on the way out, gentlemen. I did find out one more thing. Another little piece of breaking news coming out of Florida. The second in command has been revealed. Revealed. Wally Gator's lieutenant has been revealed as who's going to lead the alligator brigade. It'll be Uncle Croc from the old kids show from the 1970s, Uncle Croc's Rock.
Oh,
you know why I remember this show? Because I always loved Charles Nelson Riley, and the guy who played his grouchy next door neighbor was, of course, my favorite actor, Jonathan Harris.
Oh gosh, Jonathan Harris.
The pain.
He played Basil Bitterbottom.
Oh my gosh.
Neighbor.
Basil Bitterbottom. I think that's isn't that Jill Biden's maiden name, Bitterbottom?
That's her work wife's name.
She was pretty bitter. By the way, Mike, I think I don't know if we can ask you to do this. Can you verify where Dr. Biden got her degree from? I think she had to go to Stockholm to get that dental proctology degree, but I don't know that. I'm just asking. So
that's where they got.
As far as that, she was a Villanova person. She liked Villanova. I'm not sure because she went there or she's a Philly girl. I'm not sure. I think she did a lot of work in D.C. when Joe was here working, and she might have got her PhD here in D.C. rather, or maybe it was Delaware. She did it in Delaware because he would go home on the weekends, so she would have stayed there, not in the city.
Interesting. So you're saying that Joe Biden did some dictation with her. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Well, before he got onto younger things, just saying. So, but Insurmountable Evil. This is a great book. You guys need to pick it up. Mike McCormick. It's on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So I still haven't gotten through this one, so I'm still working my way through it. But it's good. And then I think we all appreciate your expertise. And so I think one of the things you and I share in common is just we've been on this odyssey of discovery of how corrupt things really are.
Exactly.
It's like I think we signed up for the best intent. Like I signed up to be, a cool spy and go do spy stuff. Right. Little did I know that my biggest enemy was not going to be the bad guy. It's going to be my side. It's going to be the politicians and grifters who basically want to protect the grift. Is that a good summary, Mike, of that kind of?
100%. I mean, it was an almost insurmountable evil until we voted Trump in. That's all we could do.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's day by day. It's literally a day by day fight.
My friends in England are watching with great. I work with a number of groups in England, the good guy groups, because they're pissed off at their deep state as much as we're pissed off at ours.
Well, the situation there is now that's an almost insurmountable evil that's going on over there.
Right.
And the Labor Party by default is controlling the country for 5 years, and they're going to do everything they can until the reformists possibly come up with a win.
We'll see.
They're deliberately destroying that country.
Keir Starmer has basically put England back into the EU despite Brexit. That's no, I'm serious. He's pretty much reestablished all the links.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes. Not
Will other people be
symbolically
damned?
that. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So,
pretty bad.
Yeah. So, Mike, we want people to go buy your book. So, what do you think's coming next? Because clearly, they defunded, and today is the day, or yesterday was the end of USAID. Today is the day of the new era. What do you think the deep state's going to do next to try to slow Trump down? Because they still think this. Because I know some people who identify as deep state folks, but what are they going to do next? Because I don't think they can wait out the Trump agenda. They think they can. And by the way, that's what they're going to do. They're going to. What do you think they're going to do next to try to be disruptive, but hold their ground and be able to slow down the Trump train?
I think the deep state is lying to themselves when they don't realize how quickly things are dissolving around them, how quickly things are literally falling apart around them. They don't have their Democratic Party friends are non-existent. And so what's the deep state going to do next against Trump? I think they're in process of retreat, and they're looking to make a stand. I think they're still in fallback mode, and they're looking to find a place to fall back, but they're still falling back. So this is what we got to keep the pressure on. And I think the pressure is going to come on when the big beautiful bill gets passed, and it will eventually. It's not going to be pretty, but it'll be passed. I think that's when you're going to start to see more aggressive actions coming out of the Department of Justice, the FBI investigations. You're going to see investigations start to hit the public airwaves. I mean, I think the Vindmans have to answer for what they did in 2014 and 2019. And there's two Vindmans, and one of them was in Congress, and he's got to answer for what he's done.
Well, let me hit that. I know we're a little bit over time, but I want to hit that. So one of the points that a lot of us are frustrated about is the lack of prosecutions of Vindmans and others who, I mean, the one Vindman who was part of the actual impeachment lied under oath. As a matter of fact, I would argue you peel that back, you've got Adam Schiff, several corrupt lawyers, which I don't want to mention by name because I'll probably get sued or something.
Right.
You know how lawyers are.
Right.
And the whole thing about, being caught in the lie. So do you, Mike, do you think we're going to see something out of Pam Bondi on this? Because people are getting frustrated.
That's what I'm working on. I'm working on trying to get down in front of Pam Bondi with
Good
information I know that can help.
Yeah, good. Well, Mike, we'll see you later, alligator.
Hey-o.
All right, Tony.
Hey-o. Just, yeah, it'll be good. So, Mike, as always, the Patriots love you. We love you. Thank you for being here. Again, run, don't walk, run out and buy his book, Almost Insurmountable Evil. There's a piece in the back where I think I mentioned this before. There's a scratch and sniff for AOC's fungus, but don't do that.
Gross.
And then get the other Joe Biden, the case for impeachment. There's no peaches in this, just impeachment. So just say
That's right.
That's right. So perp walk. That's right. We want to see perp walks.
We
The
do.
bad guys.
Well, more like a
we do.
perp wheel, I suppose, for Biden, but that's another story.
Perp wheel. No, we'll talk more about that next time because I want to get more into that her thing because I think that was we celebrated, I think 3 days ago, Mike, the whole debate. The debate, the tragic.
Right.
I don't know what the hell he said. I don't think he does either. And this her thing. So some of this seems like the more they try to present Biden in a competent light, the more it catastrophically fails. So we want to talk about that with you soon. Is that
Cool?
So we'll have
Let's
you back.
do that. That sounds
Perfect.
Let's do that.
We're
Right.
doing that.
All right. Well, we got to go. We'll see you tomorrow. My friend Kurt Weldon, Congressman Kurt Weldon will be here. We'll talk a little bit about 9/11. Yes, I'll get to the Israeli spy. It's quite the story. I don't have a lot more information on it, but we'll go through that a little bit because spies and spying, that's how I first met Kurt. I wasn't spying on Kurt. I was spying, and I had to disclose, called protected. Mike knows this, protected disclosures. I made protected disclosures that I didn't know there were disclosures. I was just told to go tell the truth. Ha! Who'd have thought?
Right.
I know. It's like, geez. So anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with more of fun and entertainment. So until then, stay cool.